Hey guys, so I'm here with my first tip about British souvenirs on a budget, and that is to check out the local charity shops. So you might think of them as thrift stores if you're in the United States, but they're all tied to specific charities in the UK, which means it's a win-win. You're finding something really unique, you're spending less money, and you're supporting a charity, which is really fun. If you're going to be in London for less time, this might not be your number one souvenir shop, but still, if you see a British charity shop, you should definitely go in and see what they have. It's a great, serendipitous way to find really unique things, and I love the treasure huntingness of it. Where we were staying in Richmond, there was a whole street of charity shops. They tend to cluster together. I'll put a link to I'll put a list of the different charity shops that I know of below, but I discovered even more of them on this trip than I knew about before. But they do tend to cluster together. So I would suggest looking for Oxfam, which is one of the biggest ones, and see if there's any near like the hotel or the Airbnb where you're staying. I know there's a really big Oxfam, well, there is an Oxfam and an Oxfam Books. Some of them have regular charity shops and charity bookstores with used books. I love both of them. But there's Oxfam and Oxfam Books near the British Museum, so that's in central London. But they get bigger as you are out of central London because they have less space, but that also means that in some of these little bitty charity shops, they're really kind of choosy about what they take in and sell, so you can find some really awesome things. So I'm going to show you my charity shop haul to just give you an idea of some of the types of things you can find. They're not like a thrift store in the way that you're not going to find furniture usually. You're not going to find like pots and pans and that kind of everyday items. It's more clothing, shoes, books, little pieces of china and collectibles and old postcards and photographs, that kind of thing. So without any further ado, I'm going to get to my little haul. When I know the price of what I paid and what it would have been at full price, I'm going to put that up on the screen just for a little bit of how much money I saved. Like I said, I was in London for about a week and then 2 extra days at the end. So if you're going to be in London for a while, you can really keep an eye out for these and just dip into them whenever you see them and find a variety of things, as I have done. So the first thing is this. This is a vintage Ordnance Map. And to buy them full price is a lot of money, but I got this for 99p from Oxfam because it's a little bit outdated. This is what you would use if you're going to go hiking to see the different elevations and stuff. And I wanted to buy one of these for our hiking trip, but we decided to go with something cheaper. And then I was really sad because this would be so great for Instagram photos or just any kind of photo shoot. They're really big maps that unfold, and so I was really excited that I could get one for 99 pence. So it didn't really matter to me that it was outdated just because it was more of a prop, and almost every charity shop I went in had these with the books, a little bin of them, and you could pick what area you wanted. This one is from South Wales, which I visited before. When I was a student, I went to Cardiff and saw a lot of Doctor Who related stuff. So it was like a place that was still special to me because I'd been there. So that was my first find. Well, these aren't chronological, but anyway, that's the first one for right now. Then this is one of many vintage books that I found. This one is Princess Mary, which I picked up for my sister Mary, who was really interested in British royalty and history. And it's about a real Princess Mary, and it was really good, like a nice, in really good condition. But I found that older things sell more cheaply in the UK, especially in charity shops, because their country is so much older that things to us seem really old, to them aren't that old, and you'll see that with a few other things that I picked up on the trip. So the Princess Mary vintage book. Something that wasn't a book. So we found this when we were on the way to Harry Potter. We stopped at a little shop. In the same shop, we found this little bitty bell. You see if I move, if it will focus on this. Yeah. It's just got the Tower of London on it, and then it has a little bitty ringer in it. And they sell these in charity shops. Not charity shops. If you can't do the charity shop thing, you can find this kind of thing in most of the souvenir shops. But we got it for like a fraction of what it would be. And it's vintage too, which I like. So there's a few more books. This one is Love's Labor's Lost. It's a script I got from my sister who's going to be in this play. And this is the Arden Shakespeare version, which is really nice. And it was so much less expensive than if I had bought it at full price. And it looks like brand new, basically. So this one I got at the Oxfam Books near the British Museum. So they had a lot of great theater books there. Then this one I got at the British Red Cross. I actually thought about buying one of these full price. And then I found one at the thrift store for £1. So this is the Cornish Coast Murder. It's from a series of British library crime classics. And I almost picked up the Lake District Murder at full price because we were going to the Lake District. But then when I found this one, I thought I would pick it up. And if I like it, I might get the Lake District one later. So this one is one of my very serendipitous finds. I had a lot of luck with charity shopping on this trip, especially considering we were only there a week as opposed to when I was a student and I lived there for a whole year. So one of the things that I kind of had my eye on from Instagram, I've seen some Instagrammers photographing this, but I didn't think I would actually find it because it's a vintage book, is this. The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. And it has the most beautiful nature illustrations and handwritten entries. And I'm so excited that I found this in a charity shop, just waiting for me to pick it up because this is something that I've been wanting, and yeah, it was just there waiting for me. So that was very exciting. So if you want to look for it, it's The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady by Edith Holden. This is along the similar line, but it's more of a modern book. It's by the National Trust, which are a charity that look after a lot of Britain's older properties, both like land and castles and buildings and palaces and things like that. So this is a nature companion, and like I said, it's pretty similar in that it has illustrations of different plants, and I actually learned the name of some of the plants that we saw when we were out hiking from this. And I love the National Trust, and so I picked this one up too. And it's got these watercolor illustrations. I'm really interested in doing some more nature journaling type watercolors, and so I like being inspired by both the new one and the older version. They have different plants and things in them. This one's specifically plants that you find on National Trust properties. Okay. Now, here's another really serendipitous find. So this is a mug that, it's my favorite mug. I got it when I was a student at a grocery store called Sainsbury's, and I paid like £2 for it. But I didn't notice when I bought it that it has this flaw on the handle. I don't know if that's going to show up for you. I'm sure it was there all along. I just didn't notice it. And I always hand washed my cup as a student. I didn't have a dishwasher. And I feel as if, since I've come home, putting it in the dishwasher, I think it's worsening, I think. And then inside there's a chip, and so basically I became worried that my favorite mug would get cracked or broken. And so I wanted to go to a Sainsbury's to try to pick up another one. I know they were still selling them from their website, but they don't ship to America. So I had like tons of Sainsbury's marked on my London map, but it turns out I didn't have to go to a Sainsbury's. I found one at a charity shop. So now I have two. This one's a little bit more beat up. You can tell it's like very well loved. It has some marks and things on it, but that's okay because it will be very well loved for me as well. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to drink out of. I'll probably drink out of the one that's a little bit more beat up and then keep this one more like to put pens and pencils in so it doesn't get messed up. But I didn't want to risk, I've like not been using this one even though it's my favorite cup. If you'll notice, like The cups in the UK have much thinner rims here. It doesn't want to focus on the rim, but you can tell. It has much thinner rims here than our traditional coffee cups, and I think it makes everything better. So I can go back to my favorite mug, and it holds a lot of tea, and now I have 2 of them. I have a backup in case something happens. Another one of my favorite mugs broke this year, and so I just wanted to come back with extra British mugs because their mugs are the best. I think this is the only one I actually did come back with, but that's okay. I didn't have to go to Sainsbury's, so that was pretty nice. Pretty nice little find. And then we found this little votive holder, which is special because it says mums make the world a little brighter. In the UK, most families and kids call their mother mum instead of like mom or mama or whatever. So it's very common to call your mother mum. And so we thought this was just really cute, and we got this for one of our mums. And the last one, so this is another one of my favorite little serendipitous finds. Actually, the morning before we went to this charity shop, we went to M&S, Marks and Spencer. It's one of my favorite grocery store / shopping places. It's kind of like the equivalent of Target. It's Britain's Target. It's kind of like a lower department store or a fancy supermarket, however you want to think of that. And they have a cafe with really great tea. And I love their gold blend tea. It was my favorite tea that I drank every day when I was a student there in England. And they have really good toasties. So anyway, long story. I'm rambling because I love M&S. But, and they have the best clothes. I'll talk about them in another video when I geek out about British supermarkets. But in this case, we were at their cafe and we had stopped for a little spot of tea. And I was admiring their teapots. So when my sister and I first went to England, we noticed that British teapots are bigger on the inside because they appear to be the same size as the teacup, but they pour 2 cups from one teapot. Just like the TARDIS, it's magical. So I was noticing that the teapot at M&S was really tiny. Like, I have small teapots, but not one this tiny. And I was thinking how nice it would be to have a little teapot like that. And then we went to a charity shop and we found the exact M&S teapot. You cannot even buy this little beauty because they sell it to like cafes. You have to buy 50 of them to get one. And I found that out because it says on the bottom what it is. It's a 3/4 pint Churchill teapot. And it's made to be really sturdy and last a long time because it's made for people to use in the M&S cafe or whatever cafe buys this teapot over and over and over and over and over and over. So I'm super excited to have my little TARDIS teapot, and I have like a teacup. I don't have it in here with me, but I have a teacup that's kind of looks about this size, and I bet this teapot will fill it up twice, which is super exciting. So those are my charity shop finds. I've also found Doctor Who things before. If you're into Doctor Who, they have a lot, like things for kids. They have fairies and dragons, and they just have different things than we have. And so even secondhand, you can kind of find a reflection of the community that donates things. So I would definitely recommend checking out some British charity shops if you're traveling. Just put a little flag on your map of where an Oxfam is, and if you see an Oxfam or if you see a British Red Cross, that one's really easy to spot. Just look around and see if anything else seems like it might be a charity shop as well. And then after this, I'll put up some clips of some of the different shops that I discovered on this trip. Some of them I hadn't even seen before. And I'll also put a list of them down below if you want to just do a little Google and see if any of these are near your hotel or near your Airbnb or wherever it is that you are staying. Also, if you're traveling outside of London, they get bigger when you leave London. So one of the biggest ones I went to was in Stratford-upon-Avon. So if you're going on some day trips out of London, be sure to look for them there too, because they're all over the UK. I'm going to stop rambling now, and I'm going to get ready to film the next British souvenir on a budget video, and I'll leave you there. So if you don't want to miss that one, be sure to hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Cheers!